Diving into module number 3, we're looking at systems thinking. So again, we're expanding our thought process and we're thinking about how we can really address population health on a systems level and looking at particular issues through a systems lens. So really looking at those very complex processes that impact health. We know that health is not a linear thing, and there's a whole lot of messiness going on with the experience of being human, and everyone has variables that impacts health. So that's really where we're diving into with our systems thinking and looking at how we can shift healthcare basically from being something that our folks need to fit into more to looking at how we can make our health systems fit to the folks that we serve. It's a totally shift in thought process, but the system is basically challenging for most folks to navigate, and it creates barriers. So anything that can be done to increase the effectiveness of the health system and being very proactive in developing safety net systems to address health needs is really crucial as we're looking at truly impacting those outcomes and also reducing the costs associated with healthcare by limiting those challenges with waste or inefficiencies that constantly occur in healthcare. And I've also included an almost inspirational TED Talk about innovation, and this goes into our experiential learning and looking at systems and helping the students to do a self-assessment of their systems thinking, and then also assessment of their colleagues and how their colleagues apply systems thinking to get a gauge of where we are. Because it's not only how we think, but we need to change the culture of healthcare to shift how we think about care delivery in a very broad focus. And our health systems thinking textbook is going to be heavily used in this area, so you may want to really dive into those. It's a really easy read, and I think the students will like it. Dive into some of those exemplars as far as systems thinking and how that relates at different levels. So again, we're looking at the shift of value-based purchasing. There's general information out there from the World Health Organization as far as their initiatives for systems thinking to impact health at the global level. And when we're really looking at how we shift and transform healthcare, the diffusion of innovation theory comes very handy to really incorporate that there are variances with those that we work with, and we need to know that, and we need to plan for that as well. And basically the core functions of public health is systems management. So again, this is just inherent to what we're going through in this module, and this is just a very simplistic infographic moving from very individualized or focused thinking to a very broad perspective in shifting healthcare. And again, this has a good article attached with it, and this is the spectrum as far as the different levels of systems thinking that the students will use to gauge their personal assessments and also those assessments that they're asking their colleagues to complete. And this is just a ballpark. This is not defined science as far as certain numbers. It's just helping them to think where they are, what they need to work on, and also where their colleagues are when they're doing the assessment. So this doesn't have to be broken down into numbers, and it's really important to tell the students that so they don't get tied up into figuring out the numbers and don't get the big concept of why it's important to elevate systems thinking. So that's just a brief overview of our module. And again, this is going to be a really fun module to watch the students develop as they're shifting their thought process. And with that being said, their discussion board correlates with their experiential learning as well.